all the social evidence that's available suggests that um, cultures that are homogenous are more peaceful than cultures that aren't. And if you look at the history of nations, the nations that descend into conflict, internal conflict on a very large scale, frequently are the nations where competing ethnic groups are artificially placed together. So, nations which are constructed with artificial boundaries rather than ones that have naturally developed over time, for example. That's disastrous. This is why they call it balkanization. This is why the Balkans was one of the worst regions in the world for conflict, because you have lots of competing ethnic and tribal groups in the same place. What we've done in the modern era is nations that were homogenous, nations that were peaceful, are artificially recreating out of ideology the situation of the Balkans. So we turn very peaceful, very high trust societies, and lots of the things that kind of Western civilization did that were considered beneficial and kind and empathetic were based on a high trust society where people are fairly similar, have the same culture, the same values, the same language, the same religion. And if you have all that, you can accommodate and incorporate people who integrate very easily. You know, and especially if you're culturally self-confident and you're prepared to say, look, as uh, as Teddy Roosevelt did. We're talking about this issue in America. Even a nation that's been formed of people from very different origins. Theodore Roosevelt said, we only have place for Americans. If you're coming here and you have an identity that is separate to America and you prioritize that identity above America, then you're not an American. you know and someone could have a very strong identity that they still feel loyalty to, but not above the American identity, and that's the only way it works.